I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Pre-order your Hog Wild slow-smoked Easter ham today. Hog Wild selects the highest quality whole ham and slow smokes them until they're tender and delicious. Our 100% boneless ham is approximately 4 pounds and $50. Pre-order online at GoHogWild.com. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights streaming only as we got March Madness on the airwaves, but the shows roll on nonetheless. We got the Don't Punt Hour with DeMornay Pierson-El. As always, we got NIT on the airwaves. But if you guys want to join the show, you can still use the Starter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. Streaming, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and of course, Allo Channel 961. But nonetheless, bring in the host, DeMornay Pierson-El. How's it going on a pretty good Tuesday, warm Tuesday night so far?
You know, I'm enjoying it. I can't complain.
Are you a golfer, DeMornay Pierson-El? Are you one of those guys that hits the
No. Not my thing. I'll drive and, you know, be there for the vibes. That's it. Don't
so
care
you're
about
like a top golf guy. You're a top golf guy is what you're telling me.
That's perfectly fine.
Hey, nothing wrong with top golf. I don't mind my time up there as well. But nonetheless, I want to talk about March Madness in particular. The one thing everyone loves to see is upsets. Upsets in March Madness every single year just keep going on the rise. At one point in time before the 2000s, it was pretty rare. And as it goes on and on, especially since they introduced 64 teams and expanded it, every year with the three-point shooting, with the rosters, the transfer portal, NIL, what to you, as we kind of try to break this thing apart, is the huge surge in upsets where really, if you think about it, Virginia losing to the 16-seed Golden Retrievers, that was kind of just the tip of the iceberg. And now it's just happening over, I shouldn't say over and over, but it's a lot more likely than we're used to seeing before.
You know, you got to bring your best shot. And, you know, some teams think just because it's not a Power 5 or you don't think teams, you know, deserve to be on the same court as you. You still have to, go out there and play. And I mean, it's going to continue to happen. You might have an off day, you might have an off night, just might not be your night. So it's going to happen, and I don't see it slowing down or stopping at all.
Well, that's just my thing. It's not like the teams of the past didn't have to face the mid majors before. And I'm sure there's been teams that have underestimated them times before, but we are getting to a point where your Drakes, your Samfords, your Loyola Chicagos, people are taking these teams seriously. I mean, you look at St. Mary's or McNeese State that I was talking about yesterday. I mean, there's more than just a few people out there that like those guys going as far as the Sweet 16, Elite 8, maybe even Final 4. Is it the 3-point shooting? Is it NIL? Is it money? Transfers? Like, if you had to crack, or even a few elements, like, what is this real surge?
I feel like it's a mixture of things. Dudes often get in trouble and have to go somewhere else or want to move back home for other various situations and whatnot. So you got that combination, or dudes, transferring because they're not feeling, that they're getting what they deserve, or just want a fresh start at another university. I won't say it's the NIL because that's still more so recently. But people are giving opportunities to play more. So I mean, you get in the right system and you get what a university or a coach that fits a player style of play and lets them kind of do what they do and play their game of basketball or build around them or whatnot. And you see these other teams flourish and whatnot to where they might have not been at the place that they were beforehand because of certain situations, or just it's not a fit.
Yeah. And I'm split because I think you're right in that, but I also feel like the fact that you look at the teams that win it in years past, or teams that get deep runs, especially if it's one of those mid-major teams, and you can tell me if you disagree with me, but I think we are getting to a point where if you look at the Duke, the North Carolinas, the one and dones, it almost hurts those programs in a way, because you get a bunch of freshmen and sophomore in those massive tournaments, and then you get teams like the team that won it for Kansas not too long ago. Yes, it's Kansas, but the difference between that Kansas team and years prior was that was a group that decided to stick around. Same thing with UCLA when they had a pretty good run not too long ago.
I feel like they should put a 2-year limit on the basketball players who are going. Just imagine, when Kentucky was on top, and all those guys that was one and done. Just imagine if they'd have stayed around for 2 years. Just 2 years.
Any of those Kentucky rosters too. Like, my lord.
If they stayed around for 2 years, you don't know how many national championships Kentucky would have. They would reload every year. And you would have, a starting 5 on your bench that in a year and a half or in 2 years that will arguably go and play. So I think I don't like, they can only play, pretty much a couple months in college, a semester, and then gone. Football got to wait 3 years. I understand, for whatever reasons, but I feel like it would make March Madness more competitive, more appealing than it already is if you just have guys stay for 2 years. Look what, Quinn Cook did at Duke. He stayed all 4 years. If he could have left, after his freshman or sophomore year, he wanted to, push his draft stock higher. He had unfinished business of getting a national championship and whatnot. But, just think of, what John Wall would have did at Kentucky if he'd have been there for 2 years. I think we're missing out. But I think, if they changed it to 2 years, I think it would be way better.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The one and dones in college has certainly hurt the Blue Bloods in March Madness. At least that's my stance, because I mean, if you're Pierson-El, if someone gave you a head coach for a college basketball team and your ultimate goal is just go and win March Madness and get a title, would you get a couple, maybe a one and done guy, a couple, and then try to maybe get 3 and 4-star players? Because that has really been the blueprint for these teams that win March Madness, is having fringe NBA guys, which is almost weird but that's almost your best chance to get them to stick around is you get a fridge NBA player who's going to take another year in development. And those are teams that have the best odds typically, and especially in recent years.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a science to it, or there's a way that that they've gotten better to get things more situated and whatnot, that would be something to look at. But I mean, if it's been successful, most definitely you would want to build something off of that or emulate it. So I mean, I don't think they're wrong with doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think time will tell as this goes on. But it does make me curious that we feel like we're kind of running out of this era. Arizona, Duke, North Carolina, they're always going to have a good shot at it because they can't get those best players. But when it gets to crunch time, it's always that team that seems to have that veteran presence. So something to keep an eye on. If you're looking at a team that make a push and they're quote unquote underdog, check how many juniors and seniors they got playing real minutes for that team. That's a big deal. I'm telling you, think about that St. Peter's Peacock team. Senior. I mean, they went on a run. They can handle the pressure. And that's the other thing.
That's a lot of experienced basketball players.
Mm-hmm. And it's also, I mean, you can speak on this, the pressure level of it. We always emphasize with the underdog because we want the world to be fair. We want them to have a fair shot at it. But in reality, it's the top seeded team that you should feel more bad for, because you could go 27 wins, maybe even win your conference at the end of it and lose to a 15 seed. And you're a laughing stock and everything's just washed away. And hoorah, Loyola, Chicago, who didn't have that impressive a resume. That's just always how we act. So that pressure of being the top seed, and you kind of speak to that pressure you handle that football. What's that kind of like when you're walking in there, when you're supposed to win that game, but you haven't even tipped off yet?
You keep it in mind, you don't let it, distract you or not respect your opponent. It's different when you have experience or you've been or seen stuff versus, somebody who hasn't, maybe those back-to-back games and then being more tired, more sore, the older players will probably be more callous and understand, okay, sleeping better or, doing certain things to get their body right and whatnot. So it pays to have, that experience, because in the long run, it's situational. It's situational. Football is situational in basketball. And, it comes to, who handles those moments well and better, and who can capitalize on stuff or capitalize on an opponent's mistake. So definitely that's where you see, the older, callous players step it up a notch or change up the tempo or lock down something that do something a little bit differently than, maybe the younger guys might not understand what's exactly happening in that moment and how to seize the opportunity.
I'm with you there. And again, that's why, I always point to that leadership, especially in guard play. You're going to need a guy that's going to be able to control the pace when things get a little too hectic, too loud, whatever it may be. You go for a 10-0 scoring run or vice versa. And speaking of guard play, we got to talk about Texas A&M, Wade Taylor the fourth. He's kind of been their guy. He's been their quote unquote electric shot maker. If you're an Aggies fan, you probably think he's a better shot creator than Keisei Tamanaga. How important is guard play when it comes to March Madness? And when it comes to Nebraska's guards, what kind of confidence does this give you for a run they might have? Knock on wood, but there's potential.
Guard play is important. They handle the ball, they control the tempo, floor generals. So if you have terrible or bad play, turnovers, not hitting shots or whatever, like it puts you in a hole. So that's very important. Between your 1 and 2 guard, those two are majority of the guys that handle the ball. So your backcourt is very important for that situation. They can get you out of situations, with jump ball situations, or understanding, if a double team's coming, where a ball fake to, skip pass across the court or whatnot, just having the IQ of that. And if you aren't making those plays and everything like that, turnovers can turn into points quickly, and you can be, on the opposite side of things. Now with Nebraska, they've been more consistent lately, which has been good.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends, on which side of that shows up. If they're playing fast, gritty, pushing in tempo and playing their type of ball, they're going to be a handful. I have confidence in them and whatnot. But this is also, the first time of this group having this situation. So hopefully, the lights aren't too bright, or are they trying to do too much on a stage. Just play the game, run its course, follow the game plan, and do your part, and everything should handle itself.
Yeah, and that's one thing with this team is when it comes to the guard play, it's a little bit different. It's a lot more spread out, but I do like the leadership. Shout out to Jamarcus Lawrence. I know he's coming off the bench, but what he's been able to add lately, it's just been a lot. Controls the pace, attacks when he sees it. And I want to ask you this, because I know you didn't play college hoops, but I've seen you ref some basketball as well. When you got a team like the Aggies that want to consistently attack the rim that's the thing. If you watch Texas A&M on film, they constantly attack the rim. That's one of the things they're go-to. And if not, it's a Wade Taylor kind of green light. They'll kick it around, get some three-point shots, but it's pretty much attack the rim and some high pick and rolls with Wade Taylor. How do you slow down teams that all they want to do is constantly go downhill, try to get you in foul trouble, and they're just going to be relentless? Also, I'll add that they attack the rim a lot. It's also part of why they're leading the nation in terms of offensive rebounds, which can be a little bit scary for Nebraska fans, especially if you think about Minnesota early on in the year. So how do you get control of teams that want to go downhill and they just want to crash the offensive glass every chance they get?
You don't make it a track meet. You don't play into, their hands. So when you have the ball and everything like that, slow the tempo down, get your sets, make your shots, count and everything like that. Get them in foul trouble early on, attack them to where, that aggressiveness will be kind of tapered back a little bit because they're in foul trouble and whatnot. On the defensive side, take charges. If they want to drive and everything like that, be prepared to step up and have some things to, have them think about just, driving and slashing to the basket and everything like that. Get them out of their game. So, if they're typically, slashing to the basket, make them take contested jump shots, move the ball, swing it, extra pass, get them out of their offensive set and rhythm. That's how I would see it.
Yeah, I'm with you there, especially getting the charge early. I mean, you at some point, whether it's a block, a charge, or a big play, you're going to have to send a message that it's not going to be easy inside. They're going to want to think of themselves as the more bigger physical team. They have stats that kind of indicate they are a more physical team. So early on, like you said, I think if you can get a charge, especially it's Wade Taylor coming downhill, you can get a charge on him early, really make them think twice. And if you can force those guys to start playing Nebraska ball where they're trying to swing it, take a bunch of three-point shots, maybe it goes in that night, but that hasn't been their game all regular season. So you can at least try to get them out of rhythm. And when it comes to Nebraska players, I want to ask you, Keisei Tamanaga, before we get to our first break here, that he's finally kind of getting that national attention. And now that we're to March Madness, Pat McAfee pretty much signed off on the guy today. It was all over Twitter. And now he's getting a lot of that pressure. Do you have any worries about Keisei Tamanaga succumbing to the pressure a little bit and maybe forcing some shots with the hype around it?
No, I don't think so. With him, it's your game, play your game. Don't try and do too much. Don't try, be much more of than what you are. Let the game kind of come to you, get in your rhythm, and then once you're in your rhythm, whoever's going to be guarding him is going to be tired. He's going to make them work regardless. Even if he's having an off night, he's still going to be on defense. So whoever he's played, he's going to make them tired regardless. So just not doing too much. Don't let the moment get to you. Just go out there and have your game. But I mean, I'm not afraid or not scared of him not stepping into that mode. Is just just don't do too much early on. Just let the game come to you.
I agree with you. And I'm right there with you. I saw that discussion popping up on Twitter today, especially with the notoriety he's starting to get. But if there's one thing about Keisei Tamanaga, especially if you watched him all year long, the guy, I mean, just look at the box score. He doesn't ever just try to take over games by himself. He's pretty much, if it's going in, he's going to keep attacking. If he has a few bad shots, he's going to wait, try to find a better opening. But yeah, when it comes to Keisei Tamanaga, not too worried about him succumbing to the pressure. And who does he remind you of? Now that we are kind of getting to this point in March Madness, is it fair to really call him the similar image and likeness of Davidson City, Steph Curry?
Not yet.
What about their games different?
Well, first off, Steph went deep into, he went further down into
Elite Eight, I think. Leading Sweet 16, yeah.
So he lit things up. They're both undersized. They're both catch and shoot and whatnot. Steph Curry is a high pedestal. You just can't give out, that recognition like it's candy on Halloween. So I'm not saying he doesn't have or can obtain that. I'm just saying, let him be him and make his own name. Stop, comparing or putting people in a certain category or basket. Let him flourish and be him. Does he have flashes of that and everything like that with just, catching and shooting in the 3-point and step back and stuff like that and just, running off the ball? Like, yeah. But, that's his game and that's what's, worked for him. So I'm not going to say, oh, he's like this and this and that. No, he's himself.
Fair. And one thing I will say, their game is very similar in how they play, but that team Steph Curry was on, I mean, he elevated those guys to a new level. His what am I trying to say? His usage rate was significantly higher than what Casey's. And not because Casey's maybe not as good, but simply there's better players on this Nebraska basketball roster than what Steph Curry had to work with. So again, I think Casey's done just a great job just kind of trusting Fred Hoiberg and how the system's going to plug and play and the dribble handoffs, how they get him open. Gives you a lot of excitement for Nebraska basketball. And again, we talk about Casey Tominaga a lot, but Rank Mass, Bryce Williams, Jamarcus Lawrence, Josiah Alec, that's actually one guy. Before we go to break, let's talk about Josiah Alec, because I think he's going to have probably one of our biggest performers against Texas A&M, simply because we talked about the size before. What do you think?
He's gonna have to draw, offensive, over the backs on A&M. He's gonna have to do the dirty work and everything like that. With boxing out at least 2 to 3 players, and then hopefully we see a lot more of the guards rebounding. That way, the bigs are taken care of, and they're not, their bigs are not, rebounding and whatnot. So, they're going to have to be a little bit more physical and, getting position to get that. So a big game is going to be from the bigs all around, not just, one specific person.
Yep. And I want to mention him because he's, to me, got to play like he did when we got our revenge game against Minnesota. You need to almost take that game personally in the way that what Texas A&M wants to do. And when it comes to roles, your role is what Texas A&M wants. They want to attack you all night long. So I'm sure Fred Hoiberg is probably going to have a game plan, try to prepare how those guys want to attack the paint. But Josiah Alec is definitely going to be a big part of that. So we'll probably talk a little bit more March Madness, some Husker football as well, as we're getting closer and closer to spring ball. So don't go anywhere. This is the Don't Punt Hour. We got DeMornay Pierson-El, the host, as always. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Pre-order your Hog Wild slow smoked Easter ham today. Hog Wild selects the highest quality whole ham and slow smokes them until they're tender and delicious. Our 100% boneless ham is approximately 4 pounds and $50. Pre-order online at GoHogWild.com. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
At Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time with the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge. Our program combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to help you achieve your fitness goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off the enrollment fee. The next challenge begins on March 23rd. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Cover more acres with a pre-owned sprayer or planter from Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer. We offer one of the area's largest selections of used sprayers, applicators, planters, and seeders. Through the month of March, take advantage of fixed-rate financing as low as 3.9% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver. Visit your local Landmark Implement location or view our complete sprayer and seeding inventory online at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Spring is a time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Fuhrer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Spring often marks the beginning of severe weather, which can lead to power outages. LES wants you to be prepared before the storm. Restock your emergency kit, update your info with LES, and if you encounter an outage, report it at les.com/report.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Drinking and driving causes serious harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. In 2021, 65 people were killed in Nebraska by a car crash involving a drunk driver. Do not drink and drive. By drinking less, you can still be here for your loved ones. If you or loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights on the streaming services only and cable if you got Allo channel 961. But the Starter Heyman text line still open for you guys as we got the first four playing over the airwaves. And currently, I believe Howard was leading. We'll double check that real quick, give you guys a score update in case you're on the road. No, Howard's actually down 52-65. Wagner with the lead. And some other news I should announce as well. Fred Hoiberg, if you haven't caught it, extended to the 28-29 season. So he gets his just extension as well. Good morning, Pierson-El. How big is it to get Fred Hoiberg extended already this early on up to 28-29 season, especially kind of in the midst?
Who did the extending? We don't got no AD, no president.
That's actually a great question.
I know Dennis LeBlanc is, stepping in as interim AD, but man, shout out to him, they hopping on it early, before, it could get worse, or he could get, a huge contract extension to another school or land a big contract. So, good for them, seeing the value and, giving him a payday.
Yeah. And laughing, I had to catch myself a little bit there. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned who could have possibly signed the paperwork to get that through. But you're totally right. You're totally right, because I'm glad they found someone to go and get that paperwork through, because you'd be a fool to think that other schools aren't intrigued by the idea of Fred Hoiberg, and they'd be surely at least willing to ask, hey, what would it take? I know let's just be real here. We're here, Trev Alberts say he was committed to this place. Life happens. Don't know the full story, whatever. We have to move on from it. But he's at Texas A&M now, so we can't always take these guys as words. Maybe we have to put forth action. It's great to see him get that extension. Now, hopefully, we can celebrate a win as well. But before we get to Husker football, I want to talk about one more Big Ten team, Purdue. Small sample size, but all 16 seeds who have gotten upset by a 1 seed have won a national title the year after. Purdue, especially the region they're in, seems like it could shake out for them. Is this the year finally for Purdue?
No.
What's stopping Purdue? The guard play?
Them, they're a good team, but they're a one-trick pony.
In and out.
I mean, they got better shooters and whatnot, but they're in an easier pool play to where they can make it pretty far. But once they get to a more dynamic team, or a team that is more well-rounded than them, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think if it's going to break down from, it's going to be in the Elite Eight. But I just do think that Midwest, there's some good teams in there. But the odds of all the other sides, I mean, your 2 seed is Tennessee in the Midwest. If you're in the South, 2 seed's Marquette, which again, you might think not too scary, but I wouldn't sleep on Marquette by any means.
Marquette is a basketball school. You better be careful.
I would not sleep
a
on
lot
them,
of Chicago hoopers and whatnot. Yeah, okay. Okay. All right now.
The East, 2 seed Iowa State. Iowa State should scare you. If you haven't watched them at all, they're efficient offensive and defensively. I think they might even be top 20 in those regards. And then on the other side, Arizona on the West, that's a 2 seed. So I do think the Midwest, if you're Purdue, that's probably where you'd want to be. It seems like you get the best odds to make it through. But yeah, I'd just be shocked.
You still got to go through some pretty good schools.
They got to go through the teams that would scare me. Would certainly be, I said it yesterday, but McNeese State. I won't sleep on those guys. And then obviously Creighton. I mean, Creighton, is this a year for Creighton? They're also in the Midwest region. And if there was a team that would beat Purdue, I do like Creighton.
It could be Creighton. If Creighton gets, hot from the perimeter, you're in trouble.
Good enough for a Final Four, Creighton?
Huh?
How far do you think Creighton can go this year? Final Four, championship, maybe even win a title? I mean, this is a year where, as much as it pains me to say,
I wouldn't say Final Four. I could see Elite Eight.
Elite Eight.
I could see Elite Eight.
Who would you take out of that Midwest then to come out on top? I'll just give you the big names out of it because so you don't have it in front of you. Purdue, Kansas, Creighton, Tennessee. And you start getting lower, you can throw on Texas, Gonzaga. If they beat McNeese State, my upset in this one. You like any of those teams coming out against Purdue?
You can't never put anything past Kansas. Kansas is Kansas. Gonzaga's a good school. I know they got McNeese first. But schools like that, like they're like gnats. They're always just there. Like they always get in the way. They're always on your nerves. They get to the Sweet 16s and Elite 8. So those two are for sure probably. You can throw Creighton right in there with them. You're high on Purdue, but I'm not as high on Purdue as you.
One thing that when I watch Purdue, and it sounds stupid because why shouldn't they do it? But their offense is just not creative at all. It's the one thing that I do think gets them in trouble because as soon as it seems like you crack the code on Zach Edey or if he has an off game, their offense
you're in trouble.
Yeah, because it's predicated on inside, back out to an open 3-point shooter. And if Edey's cold or if they have a bad 3-point shooting night, that's because their offense is very simple. It's not
very
complicated.
bland.
Yeah, you got a 7'4", 300-pounder inside. It makes sense to go to him. But at the same time, when it's not working, they're not very flexible and shown in the past. But that's enough.
I know Creighton got a couple, 6'5" and aboves. So I mean, they can tandem something, or they got some dudes that can bang with them. So
how important is 3-point shooting to you for March Madness teams? Do you need to be a great 3-point shooting team to have a run? As we're speaking about volatility earlier,
you need to hit your open shots. Corner 3-point shooting is important. It's important. I'm not saying, oh, that's what you need to have and everything like that. I feel like that's what the game is going to. But as long as you're scoring and whatnot, the 3-point, it can be a Swiss Army knife when it needs to be. But I don't think it's all about that. But you need to knock down your open shots, contested shots for sure.
What's more important for you? Defensive efficiency, offensive efficiency? Obviously, you want to be both. But what's more important for a team? Because you look at a team like Kentucky, you can score 90 points average a game, but they're giving up 80. And to think that a team that gives up that many points isn't going to get caught once makes me a little worried.
I would say defense, because if you at the right time, if a team is not getting what they want or not doing what they want, your offense is is going to be more efficient regardless. I feel like that translates over. If you can stop a team, or if you can put the clamps on a team or get them thrown off and whatnot, that's more so of what you want. In transition, you can steal the ball or passing lanes, and those can create points. So I mean, good defense will lead to easy points on offense.
Yeah, and again, that's why with Nebraska, the good 3-point shooting team, but the defense as well is why I'm favorable on them this year. And again, top 36 offense, defense. You look at since 2010, if you're in those categories, this is the only teams have actually won a national championship outside of UConn 2014. So there are some stats that why you might like Nebraska, not just out of bias, but there are some real, if you're an analytics person, if you want to dive into that, there's some real indicators that says Nebraska might be more than a one and done. I got to keep knocking on wood here, but there's a chance that they can have a decent run here in this tournament. And of course, if you got Fred Hoiberg extended, it's all smiles here in Husker land. And shout out to the women as well. If they can also knock out Texas A&M, get 2 teams, win their first game in March.
Send Trev off right.
Yeah, absolutely. Give them a good shout out on the way out. I will say it is interesting to see that fast turnaround, but I feel like everyone's kind of gotten over it already with Matt Rule coming out, Fred Hoiberg getting extended. Obviously, we'll see what's happened to some of these other coaches here, but it does feel like the coaches are at a good spot. And again, I'm just happy to see Fred Hoiberg extended. I will say, though, for this year with Nebraska, without even talking about the tournament, we have a lot of guys coming back next year. And without getting too ahead of ourselves, is this a product we can expect going forward, a team that maybe not the highest seed, but is at least consistently knocking on the door of March Madness, where we're not sitting there February just kind of going through the motions knowing that it's Big Ten tournament or bust?
I feel like the foundation has been laid. The winning is there, especially the past couple of years it has been going up, and then this year you make a splash. You go out and get players that fit your system and what you want to do. And you got, guys coming back to have experienced, this run and went through it and understands, what it's supposed to look like, how it's going to go. I feel like, you can definitely, follow things up and keep the, the bar pushing and moving.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We'll take our break here a little earlier since we got plenty of March Madness talk in here, but I want to save the last segment, get some Husker football in. And I want to ask you, and you can think about it over the break, when it comes to position groups, or even you can just go as broad as coaching mentality, what are some of the 5 key factors heading into next season that Nebraska must have checked off on the box if they want to at least go bowling? So we'll talk about that next on the Dome Punt Hour with the morning Pierson-El. If you guys want to add yours in there too, always feel free to do so. 402-464-5685. We'll throw out the break and be right back.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, 2-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Brought to you by the original Super Glue. Stop by your local participating Westlake Ace Hardware locations for your $10 savings coupon. Restrictions may apply. See store for details. Coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena March 29th and 30th.
Spring often marks the beginning of severe weather, which can lead to power outages. LES wants you to be prepared before the storm. Restock your emergency kit, update your info with LES, and if you encounter an outage, report it at les.com/report.
Spring is a time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Fuhrer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Service Ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Attention all Nebraska basketball fans. The NCAA tournament is coming soon, and Nebraska looks to be on its way to their first appearance in 10 years. Better Tree Removal wants to celebrate the occasion and any possible success in the tournament by offering a deal. If you're in need of tree removal on your property, call or text Todd by March 20th. If Nebraska wins the first round game, you'll get 25% off the bid. If they win two, you'll get 50% off. You must contact Todd at 402-780-1377 before March 20th.
Hi, folks. Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the Chevrolet and GMC Truck Month is now underway. We've got huge savings in Louisville. Get $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months on select models. Yes, you heard right. That's $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months happening right now at Koppel. So take that short money saving drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with roof credit. Stock number G214773.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready mixed concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Pre-order your Hog Wild slow smoked Easter ham today. Hog Wild selects the highest quality whole ham and slow smokes them until they're tender and delicious. Our 100% boneless ham is approximately 4 pounds and $50. Pre-order online at gohogwild.com. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe. This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in to Ticket Weeknights on the Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the 1s and 2s, as always, on the 1040 Ticket Studios. But be sure to stay plugged into the streams. We're going to talk a little Husker football now, but we got Nuri, the former Husker, coming in here. Lefty's got a guest as well, so be sure to stay tuned in for that one. That will go from 8 to 9, and then we'll have another former Husker, Chancellor Brewington. He'll go from 9 to 10. Then this is really got 3 hours of former Husker football players here. So again, plenty of great stuff on the Ticket Weeknight slate. But good morning, Pierson-El. I asked you before the break, 5 things that Nebraska football under Matt Rule need to really improve upon if they want to have a significant uptick in the win-loss total.
Quarterback play for sure. And what goes under quarterback play, turnovers, ball security, scoring in the red zone, efficiencies, third down conversions. And you got freshman quarterbacks. I get it. But
and Heinrich Haarberg, he's in the mix there too. Hey, veteran leadership matters. I don't care what you say, even if he doesn't take a snap. Someone that's been there, played the position. I don't care. Any knowledge that you can pass off, I'm for it.
Okay.
Hey, don't disrespect like that. That guy balled out for Nebraska.
I'm not disrespecting him, but did he or did he not cause turnovers as well?
I know,
okay.
but
okay. All right, then. So
he played tight end at the beginning of the season and ended up starting quarterback, and had out of all the quarterbacks somehow almost got that team bowling. I don't care what you say. I give a lot of flowers to that guy for playing the position.
I'm not taking anything from him. I'm just stating the fact. Did he or did he not turn over the ball like the other quarterbacks? Right or wrong?
He was a leader out there. Yes. Turned it over.
Did I say anything about the qualities or him being anything, or did I just say take care of the ball?
Yeah, he turned it over.
You trying to make it sound like I said, oh, he's terrible. I didn't say anything. All I said was take care of the ball. That's all I said.
Respect. Anyway, number 2. What else you got?
Number 2, I think, a dominant showing from the offensive line and the defensive line. You got, some guys coming back that's on the D-line that decided, not to go, pursue other opportunities. The intensity, the bar is going to be set, higher for them, offense and defense. You got a rookie guy back there. You got, year 2, year 3 of guys being together on an offensive line. I think, the success of the team definitely comes around to, those positions, dominating, being physical, being bullies, establishing their dominance. Health.
Big one on the list.
Injuries kind of caught up to us mid to late in the season. And injuries are going to happen. But just hopefully, guys can stay more healthy, whether the diets have changed or, the weight stuff or lifting and everything like that has changed differently. Or people being more used to, what's being done of things. So I think, and that's something that they necessarily can't control because it's injuries are going to happen. Offensive coordinators. I think, a better plan of attack, more consistency, and I'm not blaming them for, what stuff was last year just because of who they had in the room. I think, they were operating with the capabilities and the limitations of the guys that they had. But, you got an extra quarterback coach in there. You got extra eyes, with helping the young kids develop and whatnot. So, the offensive coordinator or tandem or whatever, who is going to be,
I want to follow up on that real quick because I want your thoughts on that. Satterfield going back to the tight ends, quarterback coach going to be having a bigger chunk in the offensive play calling. We've kind of seen it, what it looks like with 2 OC offensive system. You can ask Minnesota. I know they went bowling this year, but wasn't necessarily great on offense. Any fears with Satterfield going to the tight end coach? Will probably still have a voice with the OC. Obviously, he's still going to have his voice on how that offense runs. Any fears with that and how that's going to chemistry-wise?
At the end of the day, everybody has a job to do. And, if things are going well and being successful and everything like that, and you're doing what you need to do and whatnot, I don't think nobody will worry about that or fight or pick on that. So no, that's not. They're all grown men. They have a job to do. I think they can set differences aside and do a job for the greater good.
Yep, and this one's a little bit different too than what we had earlier on in the Scott Frost era, where that was dramatic. I don't want to say dramatically different, but definitely had some nuances in there that are different. Where this one's a little more tame. You're not necessarily just handing keys over where we were in the Frost era. But with that being said, what about wide receivers? To me, that's one that really sticks out. The quarterbacks are up there too, but when you got young quarterbacks, you're going to want some wide receivers that give you that confidence and trust out there that when you put the ball up in the air and it's in catching range, you got some guys that can come down with the ball.
Between that and the defense having another showing as what they did, taking another step higher, I think those go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
You got young guys that have played, you got other young guys coming in that are highly recruited and whatnot. And the wide receivers are definitely gonna need to step up with younger dudes coming in. You got a younger guy throwing you the ball, so they might not know or understand certain things of how it may be or whatnot. But early and often, making plays, talking situations out, getting the quarterbacks to understand how they view stuff, how they look at things, how they see it in their mind, and then kind of going off of each other and, just grinding and get things done. So, yeah, absolutely.
And then last question before we get out of here. Is this going to have to be a defensive-led team early on, or do you think, despite the guys being young, getting injected into the offense, that this offense, week 1, UTEP, can be off and rolling, and we won't have to wait nearly as long for the offense to come around?
Typically, offense takes a little time to get things rolling and whatnot. And then you throw in a wrinkle of, 2 freshman quarterbacks and, your honorable mention guy, your Captain America with things, having him in there. I think it'll take a little bit longer. But with the addition of, some of these Pac-12 high power offenses, in the conference, I definitely think, defense is going to be, what we kind of lay our head on. And hopefully we have, a more of a complementary offense to finish the game or help the defense out in situations to where we're not putting the defense in compromising positions. But with the teams that we'll be playing next year, they score fast, they score often. So yeah, I think defense is gonna have to have its ducks in order.
Yeah, I'm right there. I think defense, they're going to have to carry the water for a little bit. The question is how long? Hopefully it doesn't take too long. And you got your guys in Dylan Raiola, Kalen, whoever it may be, gets under the legs, and they got defense where if there is a mistake, they can go ahead and trust them. But with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. Shout out to DeMornay Pierson-El. We got In the Trenches with Neri up next, and then Brewington, 3 hours of former Huskers. So it's always a great time here on Ticket Weeknights. Shout out to DeMornay Pierson-El. We'll talk to you tomorrow night as well. So it's been a good show. We'll keep this thing rolling and talk to you in a little bit.